रिकॉर्डिंग चालू है। क्या बोलो? सेशन अभी ज्वाइन नहीं किया। म्यूट कर लो। So everyone joined or anyone else to do? Okay, so shall we start now? Okay, so first of all, you people introduce yourself. Okay. Sakshi and Riddhi. Sorry? Sir, I'm a doctor and I'm going to discussing about this. Fine, fine. So, today's session is all about entrepreneurship and startup. So, you people have any idea what the startup is? Anyone? Satakshi, you tell me what the startup is. In any ways, what do you think what the startup is actually? It's kind of business which will good. Okay, right. So, okay. Startup is a kind of a business only, which involves, something new, some innovation, something which has not happened before. So this is the startup, which intend to solve a problem of a business of a community. So that is the startup is. Say for example, Ola. You all have used Ola, Uber. So these all are startups which actually solving the problem of customers and the one who drives the taxi. You must be knowing that taxi service was running in India since 1960s. Taxi service was available. But that was on based on a traditional business model that we book a driver that comes to our home and he drops us wherever we want. So that was a traditional model that is called a business. So whatever the business running on a traditional model, that is called core business. And the startup is something which solves the problem. What Ola did, Ola solved the problem gap between customer and the driver. It provided a platform in which we can book a ride. We are not knowing who the driver is, and driver don't know who the customer is, but it works as a bridge between the driver and the end customer. So this is the startup is. This is the definition of startup. A venture which solves the problem of a customer with innovation and based on a revenue business model. Now, what is revenue business model of Ola? Anyone? You understand what revenue is? Yeah, revenue is the profit which startup earns. So how Ola or Uber earns their profit? They earns the profit via the commission they charge from the driver. So this is their profit margin, and they are solving a problem. The problem of that taxi service which you want to avail. If you go to another city, say example, if you go to Mumbai, you don't know anyone, but you want a mode of transportation. So you book a taxi service and the taxi service comes to you and drops you. You pay to them directly and they charge the commission. So what Ola is doing, they are charging certain commission and solving your problem. So this is a kind of a startup. This is actually the definition of startup is to solve a problem between customer and because they are working for the taxi service, they are solving a problem between customer and taxi drivers. So, among you people, do you have any interest in starting your own venture right now or something later in any field? Have you ever got such kind of thought, okay, I shall start something after my studies, or in between my studies, I shall start something, a new venture? So, have you ever got some such ideas, Abhinav? Not yet. Okay. Riddhi, you tell me any such idea you have if you want to start something of your own. So I want to start something out of my own, but I don't have any idea. Okay, you don't have any idea. So how you will get an idea? If say for example, you three after your studies plan something to do of your own. So how will you get an idea? The first stage of the startup is an idea. This is called ideation stage. So for that, how will get you idea? The idea depends on the area of your interest. Like someone who is interested in painting, someone who is interested in technology, someone who is interested in teaching. So the idea comes from your area of your interest. First of all, you will have to find before planning a startup or anyone, any of us, before planning a startup. First of all, you will have to find what your area of your interest is. So that is the prime prime phase of your identification of your business idea. That what you are going to do. That should be area of your interest. Like for example, if someone who's from a design field, it's you, right, Riddhi? Oh, oh. So anyone who is from design field like fashion designing, many of okay, fine. So many of the fashion person in fashion designing industry starts their own venture, their own brand, their own boutique. So what they do, they first identify their area of interest, and then comes the ideation stage. What the business idea will be. There are four phases of an startup. The first phase is ideation stage, in which you develop an idea, an overview of idea that this is what I am going to do in future. That is called ideation stage. And then comes the prototyping that I will have to develop a prototype model of my business. So this is how the idea shall go to the market. Then it comes to execution and then it comes to follow up. So there are four stages of a startup. So whenever any of us plans a startup, the first thing comes in our mind is idea. What my idea is. Idea can be anything. Idea can be a product. Idea can be a service also. Because many of you pursuing technical education might go for a service industry rather than planning to sell a product, you're planning to sell a service. Now, can any of you tell me the difference between product and service? What the basic difference is between product and service? Akarshan, you tell me please.
Service, something like Uber, which helps us on a regular basis.
Okay. Look, the product is something which is tangible. You can view it. That is a product. Like, for example, the dress you wear, the perfume you use, that is a product. So that is something which is tangible. You can touch it, feel it, sell it in the market. That is a product. Or there are other startups that is service-based startups, technology-based startups, app-based like Ola, Uber, Urban Clap. These are technology-based startups, or you can say in easy language, service-based startups. So startups basically are of two types: product-based startups and service-based startups. Okay, like Flipkart. What Flipkart is? Tell me, any of you?
Product-based.
Sorry.
Product-based.
No, no. Look, Flipkart is not selling a product. Flipkart is just an intermediary. Okay. It acts between a bridge between buyer and seller. Seller can be anyone, any company, any stockist, and buyer is the end customer. Flipkart is just a technology based platform which acting as a bridge. So it is service based startup. They are just facilitating you with orders, with delivery. They are just as a facilitator. So they are service based startups. So can you tell me any product based startup company? There are many. You all might be using their products. Anyone? Tatakshi, tell me. Any product based startup recently you have heard or you use such products? Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Like for example, sugar cosmetics, because the founder is very much popular these days on Shark Tank. So sugar based cosmetics is a product based startup. Whom they are targeting? They are targeting basically customers with age group of 18 to 35. They are target customers with, and they are selling beauty based cosmetics products. So this is a product-based startup. So what the difference between product-based startup and service-based startup is? The range of service-based startup is much wider. Like for example, Urban Clap. You all must be aware of what Urban Clap is. Okay. So the range of Urban Clap is very broad. Anybody can book. I also can book. You also can book. Anyone the age group of 16 also needs that service. So the range of service-based startup is broader. What happens when it comes to product-based startup? You have to make a targeting. So do you understand what targeting is? Before planning a startup, you have to target what my consumer will be, who my consumer will be. So that is a called target. So every business needs a certain targeting. Without proper targeting, you cannot plan a business. Like for example, if we take the example of sugar cosmetics, they are targeting mostly females in an age group of 18 to 35, mostly in urban area. So this is their targeting. So every business shall plan a certain targeting, who their target customers are, what their wants are, what output they are looking for. Without proper targeting, you cannot plan a business. Say, for example, again, if you will consider different geographical locations of India, there are requirement changes. For example, in northern part of the country, the requirement of say beverages and beverage based business is much higher. Have you heard about Lahori Jeera? You all might be knowing the brand Lahori Jeera, which started from Punjab and now they are running pan India. So why most of the beverages brand comes from central or northern part of India? Anyone you can tell me this? Okay, there are many reasons for this. The first and foremost reason is the availability of raw material. So before planning any business, you have to focus on two things: that availability of raw material, and second, the availability of consumers. So what happens? Central part of India and northern part of India has highest percentage of consumers of cold. So the selling of cold drink, or if you will calculate percentage wise, is much higher in these regions. So that's why when anyone plans the startup, they plan that how much consumers are available for such products. So this is a foremost requirement to plan that how much consumers you will get. If you are having a very good idea, but the consumers are not available, then the startup will not succeed. So first of foremost thing, the product which I am launching or which I am planning to launch, do you have that many consumers available for such product or not? Right. So any questions? So, Akash, you tell me what you do right now.
I'm studying law.
Law. Okay. From which university?
MP.
Okay, right. So, tell me that what are have you ever heard about that legal implications and legal requirements to start a business? What are the legal requirements? If somebody is planning to start a new venture, what are the basic legal requirements to start a venture?
Yeah, the beginning that the money comes from the matter of taxation.
Okay, no, I just want to know what are the legal compliances, the type of okay, can you tell me the type of companies, different type of companies, firms, proprietorship, partnership, are you aware of that?
No.
Forms of business. Okay. Look, whenever I start a business, there are three forms of business. Okay. Proprietorship, partnership, and private limited. What proprietorship is? Proprietorship is the simplest form of business in which a person himself starts a business. There are no other partners and limited compliance. That is called proprietorship. Sole proprietorship in an individual who owns 100% of the business. Okay, this is proprietorship, right? And the second is partnership. In partnership, we can have two or more people working together on a venture. That is called partnership. Okay, you must have heard this that we are starting a business. And people talking like this. We are starting this business in partnership. Have you heard that? Yeah. So that is a partnership firm in which two or more individual comes together to start a business. That is partnership. And the third form, which is very complex, is a private limited company. So in private limited company also there are more than two people starting a venture, but this is different from partnership. How this is different? Akash, you are a law student. Do you have an idea how partnership and private limited company is different? Okay, I will tell you this. Look, what happens in partnership, there is a liability. Every partner holds the liability for that business. But what happens when you form a private limited company, your liability is limited. What does this mean? Limited liability. In this means that the business, that company will be treated as a separate individual. The business will be counted as a separate individual and not as a owner or a partner. The business will have its own identity. Say, for example, Reliance Industries Limited. The directors keeps changing. Started by Dhirubhai Ambani, now Mukesh Ambani owns that. So the director keeps changing, but the company remains intact. So the company has its own identity. Even if Mukesh Ambani decides to sell Reliance Industries to someone else, that is not going to happen. But I'm just giving an example. The company will remain the same. The director will change, but the company will remain the same. The status of company will remain the same. So that is private limited company, that or limited company. The most complex form of business incorporation. So what three types of company incorporation we discussed? First is proprietorship, simple form of business in which an individual holds the full control over the business. That is proprietorship. The second is partnership, in which two or more individuals comes together and forms a business. That is partnership. And third one is private limited company, which has its own legal identity irrespective of who the directors are or how many directors are. The company holds its own identity. So this is the basic difference between the three forms of business. Right. So any questions? Okay, tell me one thing. Like after your studies or any of your friends, if you deciding to start a business or your own venture, what initial research will you do as an individual? Or what research, initial research you will suggest to someone who will ask you that I'm going to start or I'm planning to start a business? What initial research will you suggest?
That's any ideas and it's relevant or not.
Okay, fine, perfect. So first stage is idea. Is it relevant or not? So how will we test that? For example, if I ask you that I am planning to start a medical store in this locality, so what will you say? How will you test that my idea is relevant or not? If I ask you to help me, Akarshan, in this process, then what things will you do to test the feasibility of an idea?
Maybe start a small scale works
Mhm.
and you can understand that and proceed on the larger scale.
Right. So how will we find that the demand is there or not? Like for every business, you have to first of all evaluate the demand. And how demand evaluation is done? Say, for example, I'm taking an example of a medical store, a pharmacy. So how I will evaluate the demand? First of all, I will have to see how many hospitals, doctors, nursing homes are nearby or not, because they are the one who will prescribe medicine and then only the patient will come to my store. So this is the basic. Second thing is competition, obviously. If there are too many medical stores in my locality, then consumers will not going to come because the customers will be distributed everywhere and I will not be earning that much. Third thing is the space, rent, my expenses, are they under my control or not? So these are the steps we how we evaluate our idea. The idea might be anything, but the evaluation of an idea is important, that it is feasible or not. And for doing this, we make a report. The report is called pre-feasibility report or detailed project report. So you might have heard that if you are any one of you are from business background or might have heard about project report. Have you heard, any one of you, what project report is? No. Okay. The project report is detailed representation of your idea with forecast of your future plans and your future profits. Like for example, if I am investing 1 lakh rupees in a business model, then what my intention should be? Anyone? If I am investing 1 lakh rupees in a business model, what my intention should be? What should I expect? Look, the intention of a business is very simple, is to earn profit. The only intention to start a business is to earn profit. So, just as a layman, any one of you, or sir, hello sir, good afternoon. Nice to see you. आपको वेलकम करने के लिए मिस्टर नवाज, थैंक यू सर। टाटा फाउंडेशन की तरफ से वेलकम है आपका, और शायद बहुत देर नहीं ट्रेन कर पाऊंगा, तो आपको आने के लिए धन्यवाद भी एक ही साथ दे रहा हूँ। नहीं, थोड़ा देर सर रुकिए, आप रहेंगे तो हमें भी अच्छा लगेगा। देख रहे होंगे हॉस्पिटल, हाँ हाँ कहीं दिखाने के चक्कर में। लेकिन भाई हम कंटिन्यू, अगर अगर टाइम हो तुम्हारे पास और इन लोगों के पास भी समय हो, इन लोगों के पास पूरा समय है, अगर तुम्हारे पास समय हो, तो अगर आज कंटिन्यू नहीं हो पाता तो कल का भी सेशन नहीं, आज तो 2 बजे तक करते हैं सर, फिर आगे का प्लान करते हैं। ठीक है, तो थैंक्स, ओके बाय बाय। सब अच्छी फोटो ली आपने? Okay, sir. Bye bye. Yeah. So, what is the intention to start a business? तुम बिजनेस करना चाहते हो, जॉब करना चाहते हो, whatever you wish to do, what is your intent for this? To earn. Obviously, whatever we do is to earn. So, in business, what the earning is my profit. I want to earn profit. That is my intent. Right. So, for example, just tell me, if I invest 1 lakh rupees in a business, how much profit should I expect in 1 year? Just as a normal person, just tell me, if I invest 1 lakh rupees in a business, how much profit shall I earn afterward? How much should I earn at least minimum? Sir, at least double of. Sorry? At least double of that. Double, okay, right, perfect. So, as Riddhi said, if I invest 1 lakh rupees and I earn 1 lakh rupees, so at the end of an year, how much I earn? I earn 1 lakh, right? Because I have invested 1 lakh, that is not my earning, that is my investment. Like for example, we are taking example of a medicine shop, a pharmacy. So I rented a shop, I spent some amount in interior, I spent some amount in rack, and some amount in medicine. So I invested 1 lakh, and after 1 year, I earned 1 lakh. So after a year earning 1 lakh rupees, so do you find this business feasible or not? Is this business feasible? Tell me why? Why? Sir, because there is no profit in that. How there is no profit? There is a profit of 1 lakh. So how it is not feasible? So you invested 1 lakh and you got 1 lakh. There was no profit. Okay, as per you, the profit is very less or it's not much, right? That's what you are saying. The profit is very less. Okay. But will happen in coming years? My profit will definitely increases because as the business ages, my profit increases. Consumers will start knowing me. Doctors will start referring to my medical shop. So my profit will gradually increase. But for the 1 year, I invested 1 lakh and earned 1 lakh rupees. that is a feasible business. Maybe the scale is lesser, but it's feasible in financial terms. How it is feasible in financial terms? Okay, tell me how much is the bank interest in India right now? Any idea, Takashi? Okay. So if you deposit 1 lakh rupees in a bank, the bank will give you around 7% interest. That is 7,000 after 1. Like I deposit 1 lakh rupees right now, and after 1 year, bank will give me 1 lakh 7,000. That is around 7% interest. Here, but I invested 1 lakh rupees in this medical shop and it earned me 1 lakh rupees. So, can you evaluate the difference? Here I earned 100%, and if I would have invested that same amount in a bank fixed deposit, I would have earned 7%. So, there is a big gap between the interest rate and what I have earned. But what happens if I deposit that in bank? That is risk free. The bank guarantees me 7% return on my deposit. So that is called risk free investment. But the business, whether it's small or large, is never risk free. There is always risk is always involved that I might be losing my 1 lakh. If business fails, I might lose my hard earned investment. So I end up losing. So there is a risk. So this risk and reward is the two constituents of a business. Whenever you will start anything, whether it is service-based startup, technology-based startup, product-based startup, it involves risk. And that risk gives you risk premium when you succeed. Like I earned 1 lakh after investing 1 lakh rupees. I could have earned only 7,000 if I deposited the same amount in the bank FD. So how much is the risk premium I got? Tell me. You got my point, what I told you, that I would have earned 7,000 if I would have invested 1 lakh rupees in bank FD, and I earned 1 lakh if I invest the same amount in a medicine store. So the how much I earned? 1 lakh rupees. And how much is the risk premium? Risk premium is something which is my earning when I took a risk. That 7,000 is risk free. That anyway I would have earned if I would deposited the same in a bank FD. So that is my risk free investment. 7,000 is the risk free and 93,000 is the risk premium. The risk premium is what that amount which I would have even lost that if my business failed. But I earned that while taking the risk. Because I took the risk, I earned 93,000 extra. So that is my risk premium. That I earned that because I took a risk last year. So every business runs on a risk and reward model. How much the risk is and how much the reward is if I take that risk. This is all about business, risk and reward. Every businessman wants risk to be lesser and reward shall be higher. And the business which has lesser risk and higher reward is always feasible. Again, you have to test the feasibility. You have to make a feasibility report or project report to examine whether that business is feasible or not, whether that business will generate profit in future or not. So everything depends on the report, project report. The first step of idea is to make a project report of your idea. After ideation stage, we make a project report in which we examine all the parameters of feasibility of a business, whether I will earn after 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, how much profit will this business will be generating. That is the major goal of a project report. So whenever any startup comes to us, we suggest them to make a detailed project report to plan and to evaluate the future success of your business. And sometimes what happens that feasibility report fails also. It shows you a negative thing that this business will not succeed in this area, this locality, or due to the higher cost of raw material. So whatever the future prediction is, that comes when we make a project report. So from now onwards, whenever someone says that I'm planning a business, ask him to make a project report in which you can analyze the future of your business. Now, when you start a business, the first thing which you should do is a marketing, advertising, promotion. So there are different forms of promotion. You must be knowing TV ads, newspaper ads, social media. But for the startups and young startups, the biggest tool these days is social media platform, Facebook ads, Insta ads, and many of the startups. If you have seen a few episodes of Shark Tank, you must be knowing that many of the startups these days are built on a rigorous campaign on Facebook, Instagram, and they are generating many leads through the social media platform. So, how to use social media for growth of your startup is a very important topic these days. So, you all must be using Insta and Facebook. So, have you seen paid promotion ads? Which type of? Like in any example you remember? Anything?
Products, cosmetic products,
Cosmetics.
clothes.
Oh, okay, so you must have seen the ads are of two types. One is sponsored ad, which directly shows you the page, that page of that company and their promotional creatives that they are offering. Like you must have seen the ad campaigns of Raymond's, etc. Ad campaigns of Campa Cola, in which they are offering something like 20% discount or 30% discount. So this is the paid campaign run by the company. And there is another form of paid promotion these days, which is called collab. Do you have any idea what collab is? Okay. What happens these days? A brand collaborates with a local influencer. Say, for example, there is a new restaurant in your city, and you must have seen that a local influencer with certain amount of followers, like 50,000 followers, 1 lakh followers, promotes that very restaurant, promotes that very shop, promotes that very outlet. So that is the local way of promotion. That is called collaboration based promotion, in which the startup or a brand collaborates with the local influencer to promote their product or service. This is very common these days in India, and there are thousands of such local influencers in every city who are collaborating with the brand for the promotion of the product. So this is win-win situation for both, because if I will hire a big celebrity, that is not possible for a small brand. Like for example, I'm opening a supermarket in a locality. So for me, it's not possible to hire a big celebrity, a big film star for my promotion of my outlet. But I can collaborate with a local influencer for branding and promotion of my product, service. That is called collaboration based marketing, which is being rigorously used after the evolution of Instagram. So because everyone has their followers, and whatever the reels or photos they post, that reaches thousands of people in a second. So this is again a very aggressive form of marketing. So Have you been influenced any time with this kind of reels, or you have made a buying decision after seeing any influencer promoting a product or service? Have this happened to any one of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what kind of product or service was that?
This number is the drug needs medical saving plans.
Okay. So, how you buy that, online or online?
There was a
Okay. Yes, that's what I am telling you. What happens when they post a reel or a photo or of promotion? There is a buy button or visit our store button, attached with that reel or with that video or with that post. From there, if you click on that link, you will directly redirected to the website of that company. And from that website of that company, that's online store of the company, you can directly buy that product. So that what this did, this fastens your decision making. That you saw something, you saw a reel, you saw a promotional video, and then you decided to. Yeah, sorry, there was network issue a bit. Okay, so what we are discussing, we were discussing about the online buying decision. So what happens when we saw something, some post which generates curiosity that what the product is. So we click on that very link and we visit the online store, and from there we make a buy decision to buy that product. Whenever we visit something which attracts us, so we buy that directly. And this is how most of the startups these days, especially the one that targets youth, cosmetics based products, gym based products, uh, that apparels. So what these brands do, they promote themselves rigorously on Instagram and other social medias, and from there, the youth or the other customers make the buy decision very rapidly. So 70 to 80% of the sales these days, these brands, these startup companies drive through that social media platforms. Now, have you seen that what happens sometimes you visit an online store and you don't buy, you just visit, and then you don't buy, you think I will buy later maybe, or yeah. So have you noticed that you start receiving the ads of that very brand on your browser and on other apps which you use regularly? Has this happened to you people? Like you visited, for example, let's say you visited Mintra today, you browse Myntra, you didn't buy anything, but what happens when you start using any other app or start browsing any other site, you will see the advertisement of Myntra with that very product showing over there. Has this ever happened to you? So this is called remarketing. The remarketing is a technology used by these big brands to target you in your feed that very product again and again, which you haven't purchased yet, which you saw might be in your cart, might be added to your wish list, but you have not purchased it yet. That is called remarketing. After the evolution of social media, this remarketing has been used widely by these brands to show you that product again and again, which you have not purchased yet, which you are planning to purchase, but you have not purchased yet. That remarketing will appear everywhere, every time, whether you are scrolling YouTube, whether you are scrolling Facebook, that very product will be showcased as an advertisement again and again over next few weeks. So this is called remarketing. Again, it's a big tool used by these social media agencies hired by these brands to promote their products. So this is another way how startup scales their business by using this social media remarketing, in which you once visit our website and then the same product, that same image will be shown to you everywhere. Whatever you browse, that image will be visible to you to influence you to buy that product once. So that's how they target customer psychology to make a buy decision, because it's the customer who is at the end will have to decide whether they were going to buy or not. So showcasing that same product in your feed again and again will influence you by that way. Okay. So this is again an advertising process used by these startups. Because what happens, that TV based advertising or newspaper based advertisings are very expensive. So lot of small startups cannot afford that to hire models and make a TV advertisement. This all shall be very costly for them. So this technology, after evaluation of social media, the startups nowadays more and more are just targeting through social media campaigns, and they have a dedicated team to build a proper social media campaign to influence the buy decision. Okay, and there are other ways, like for example, have you seen that pamphlet inside newspaper, advertising pamphlet? They put advertising pamphlet inside the newspaper. So this is again a very inexpensive way of reaching many people. Like there are in a locality, if 50,000 households are there, everyone these days newspaper comes to everyone's house and they put the pamphlet. So these are an inexpensive way of promoting the local business, because brands, larger brands, big companies have that capital to make larger ad campaign. But for the small startup, these are the lesser ways, inexpensive ways of promoting their business. Many of the coaching institutes these days, they simply on the wall or something, they put their pamphlet. They stick their pamphlet over there. This is very common in every city. So this is again what this is. This is again a very inexpensive way of advertising. So every startup, whether it's big, small, whether it's product based or service based, may require that proper built advertising campaign as per their budget to promote their business, at least initially, in the initial phase of the business. a proper promotion is must. And then it comes to the evaluation of the promotion. Like if I pay someone that certain amount for my advertising, that campaign should generate surplus revenue to me. For example, if I am spending 10,000 rupees in an advertisement, I shall earn at least 4 times through that advertisement campaign. So that is the goal of an advertisement. No business can sustain if they are not making a profit and spending too much on an advertisement. So advertisement budget should be planned properly before starting a venture or before starting an advertising campaign, that how much budget shall I dedicate for advertising, and that allocated budget is bringing me profit or not. This is very important evaluation every brand must do in order to grow their business. What happens sometimes in a big celebrity or a big star in an advertising campaign sometimes fail. This is very common. This happens in India with even a bigger brand and bigger star, like the brand value. Have you heard what brand value is? Do you have any idea what the brand value is? Okay, just I'm telling you one story. Uh, there is a startup Bharat Pay. Have you heard about Bharat Pay? Any one of you? No. Bharat Pay is a UPI based startup like Phone Pay. Just like Phone Pay, Bharat Pay is a UPI based startup. It's just equivalent to Phone Pay or Google Pay. It's called Bharat Pay, started by Ashnil Grover. Ashnil Grover was the initial judge in Shark Tank season 1. So Bharat Pay wanted Virat Kohli as their brand ambassador. So they met Virat Kohli, and Virat Kohli demanded a certain amount of charge for becoming the brand ambassador. And that amount was not feasible for Bharat Pay to pay to Kohli, because that was very high, because Kohli generally collaborates with larger brands, MNCs only, and not to the lesser brands. So that amount was not feasible for Bharat Pay to give to Kohli. So Bharat Pay decided to not to go with the Kohli, and rather they collaborated with rest of the Indian cricketers, rest of the all other Indian cricketers in a one ad campaign, excluding Kohli. They hired every other 10 player, like there are 11 players in a cricket team, so they collaborated with the rest 10 and got them in a lesser price what Kohli was demanding. So why this happened? Avina? Why they got 10? Sorry? Yes, exactly. So the Kohli holds brand value higher than any other cricketer in India, and much higher than any other cricketer in India. So they got 10 players, including Rohit Sharma, Bumrah, everyone else in that 10 in lesser amount than what Virat Kohli was asking for. So this is the brand value is. Higher is the brand value, higher a brand will pay to you for their campaign. So this is my point, that a business plans their ad expenses as per their budget. They did well hiring 10 other players and build a very successful ad campaign excluding Kohli. And there is no guarantee if Kohli would have been there, they would have made a much better brand or much bigger brand. There is no guarantee in advertisement. So the chances of an advertisement to fail or to succeed is not, you cannot decide it with once the campaign is through. It is only can be evaluated once the campaign is done. So startups with limited amount cannot go with big celebrities or big ad campaigns. So they have now developed unorthodox way of advertising their product and their service. So this is now the traditional form of advertising like TV advertisement or newspaper advertisement is changing, and is changing via the social media medium, maybe some other techniques, maybe collab based marketing, maybe incentive based marketing, maybe that chain system which I think you have heard of. Have you heard about Amway? Amway is a brand. Okay, so they follow another type of advertising in which a customer becomes their partner, and then customer becomes the part of their chain and then resell their products to another person, and another person joins that chain. That is a chain based marketing. That is again a technique used by many startups these days, and also being widely used in real estate industries these days, that chain based marketing system. So apart from that traditional advertising, the evolution of unorthodox way of advertising has been evident in India over the last 10-15 years. And every now and then a new form of advertising is being developed. So this is how, because of evolution of new companies, new technologies, new products, these methods are being used regularly. Now I think we have come to the end of the session. Do you have any question you can ask me? No? Okay. Okay, fine. So it's been amazing talking to you all. So stay in touch. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.